Let's talk now about working with Twitter data. So I will create a new project that I am going to call Ethnography Twitter Project. The project has been created, and now we have to import Twitter data. Import, export, Twitter. And this is where in the enter query space, that is where we will enter either a hashtag, an author, a keyword, or a combination of different things by entering the pipe sign to divide one from the other. Pipe sign means or, so I can add here another hashtag. Then under result type, that is where you will determine whether you want to have the most recent or popular tweets or a combination of both. It also tells you here how many tweets should be the maximum that you will import. Then you have to determine whether to include the tweets, the retweets, images, or profile images. Then what will happen is that you have to select what you want ATLAS.ti to transform into codes. Just as a context, each one of the tweets will become a quotation in ATLAS.ti, and that quotation will be automatically coded according to the authors that participated in that tweet, the hashtags that were used, the mentions that were made, the locations, and the languages. If you select queried hashtags only, what will happen is that only the hashtags that you have specified in the search expression section, enter query, only those will become codes. But it just happens that you may have a tweet that includes several hashtags, not only the ones that you have specified in the space above. If you select queried hashtags only the one specified will show. But if you unselect that, you will also create in ATLAS.ti codes for each one of the other hashtags that were used. So that can become, a big project if there are a lot of hashtags. So I will select queried hashtag only, and then ATLAS.ti will create links for author and location and author and mention. So that's all of this is optional. Let me only do ethnography this time, and I will import the tweets. Now, read the note that comes with this window that says, please note that a Twitter search only retrieves tweets not older than a week. Furthermore, you will almost never retrieve all tweets, but only a selection of what Twitter considers to be relevant. Import tweets. So here we are. This is a document that was created with all of the tweets that we imported. If we go to documents, we will see the 239 tweets that were created. Each tweet became an individual quotation in ATLAS.ti. If you double click on one of them, you are going to see the quotation in context and the codes attached to that quotation. So let's take a look at this one over here. We have that this particular tweet, which is a quotation, has been written with the hashtag ethnography, has been made by this author, and it is in the English language. Let's go to another one, and you can also always revisit these tweets in context. So let's take a look at one of them, number 111. I'm going to take a look at this in a network by right-clicking on the quotation and then selecting the option Open Network. I have to maximize this, and I have to set the layout. Let's try this one here, orthogonal tree. So what do we have? We have that the author Swin Design mentions Epic People org, and Epic People org has tweeted the tweet number 111. Again, this is a quotation, which was also tweeted by Swin Design. And this tweet is about ethnography. It was made in the English language. It is a retweet, and it comes from this document, which is the collection of all tweets. Now, there are pieces of information here that we don't really need. For example, I don't really need to have in my network the actual document because I know that the tweet comes from this document. Now, having the language English might not be that necessary either. The fact that it is a retweet, maybe that's okay. Let's now reset the network. So this is easier to see. So here we have the tweet at the center that is about ethnography. It is a retweet. It's made by Swin Design, that author, who happens to mention Epic People, or who also tweeted this tweet number 111. Now, I can kind of enrich a little bit this network. Let me go to the top where it says View, and I will insert the frequencies of these codes. So we have here the code Twitter retweets has a level of groundedness of 77. Groundedness means the number of quotations connected to that code. In terms of this Twitter project, it means the number of tweets that are retweets, right? 77. And this is one of them. Here we have ethnography. The groundedness is 228, which means that there are 228 tweets that use the ethnography hashtag. This one here, Swin Design, is an author that has a groundedness of 2, which means that this author made 2 tweets. Now let's take a look at the other one. Import neighbors, import quotations, because as you may remember, a tweet is a quotation in ATLAS.ti. So this is the second one, number 1112, which was also tweeted by Epic People, who is mentioned by this individual. Now let's take a look at this now in a different way. By the way, before I move out of this, the second number is 5 in this case here, density 5, D5, and that means that this code, Epic People, is connected to 5 other codes. Okay, so let me change the layout of this like that. Let me show you different options. That's one, orthogonal, circular, and circular, it works better when you define the routing as polyline, something like this. Single cycle, circular. And as you will see, whenever you place the cursor on one of these layout options, you will see below the explanation of what that layout means. So this seems nice, but I think that let me show you which one I really like for this kind of network. Hierarchical upwards, hierarchical left to right. This one. So we have here the author, Swin Design, who is mentioning Epic People org. Swin Design has tweeted 111, which was also tweeted by Epic People, which is a retweet, which is about ethnography. And we also have that Swin Design tweeted number 112, which is about ethnography, which is a retweet, which was tweeted by Epic People as well. And we know already that Epic People was mentioned by Swin Design. That is a nice way of looking at this. Let's take this one. This is a tree representation where we have Epic People on top. So if you want to add new elements to this network, you can do that by simply, for example, you may say, well, Epic People has 5 tweets, right? Because groundedness of 5, and we only see 2 here. So what else has this person said? Well, we right-click, import neighbors, import quotations, and here we have 3 more, I'm sorry. Now, this seems to be a little bit crowded, so I'm going to get rid of the retweets, right-click, remove from view, and I have to reset this network in order to be able to see it better. I like this representation as a hierarchy from left to right. And here is precisely what I want. The author that is mentioned, and each one of the tweets, as well as the fact that they are all about ethnography. All right, that is all about the graphical representation of a single tweet, a single quotation. Another thing you could say before I leave this screen here is that you can also select preview, and that means that you will be able to see the actual preview of the tweet. Okay? But if you do that, you have to reset the layout mode. All right. And let's continue taking a look at what we have. We also have a collection of codes, the hashtag ethnography, the different authors on green, the mentioned authors on blue, the language, English 227, Latvian 3. Let's take a look at the Latvian tweets. Well, you can do that in 2 ways. One, by double-clicking on Latvian, and there you have the 3 quotations linked to it. In other words, the 3 tweets that were made in Latvian. You click on one, and you will go to the context where you are going to see it, and you will see that tweet with all of the different codes that have been linked to it. Another one, and another one. Now, you can also take a look at this in a graphical representation. Right-click on Latvian, open in Network Editor. Here you have it. And now you have to start inserting neighbors, which means the elements connected to that element, common neighbors. So there you have it. So these are the 3 tweets that are in the Latvian language. Okay, there you go. So we have here ethnography, comes from this document, and is this author. Well, I think that is worth trying a layout here. Yeah, that looks better maybe. Or we can try another one, something like that, and so on. So that's where you will have to decide which one to use. But here we have it. The hashtag ethnography has been used with tweet 1.2 as well as tweet 1.6, 1.2 and 1.6 as well as 162. They are all in the language Latvian. 1.6 is by this author here, and that's what we have, right? And they all come from this document, import ethnography. But once again, if we want to get rid of the document from where this comes, we all know what document it comes from, well, then you just simply select and remove from network. And then you will you will reset this again. Okay? All right, let me continue here. So we have the languages, we have the locations as well, the different locations. So we have here, let me see, University of London, and so on, Hawaii, USA, La Paz, Lancaster, and so on. So a number of different locations. London. Let me right click, open in network editor, layout. Let's do the circular here. So here we have London, right? So Hearst Publishers is located in London. David Yates, Jeff Bizimer, UCL, IOE Press, this one, this one, this one, and this one. If you want to know what was said or what are the tweets associated with IOE Press, well, you select that code, right-click, import neighbors, import quotations, and we have tweet number 160, an excellent and systematic study of the experiences of third generation and so on. If you want to see the entire quotation, in other words, the entire tweet, you go to View and select Preview. And that gives you much more information, right? And then you have to reset the layout in order to see this better. I think this is okay. All right. Okay, now I will close this down, will not save it. In addition to examining the quotations or tweets, as well as the codes in networks, we can do other things with Twitter data. So let's take a look at that now. You may want to go deeper into the coding of the data. So not only rely on the codes that came with the importation of the Twitter data, but if you want to somehow explore this further, well, you're welcome to do that. So let's take a look at this here, and I will code it with a code that I will call carceral condition code. So that code has been connected to this tweet. What else can we do? We can take a look at the tweets. Well, in fact, to each one of these codes, not only the tweets, in a word cloud, just to have an idea of the words that people are using to refer to ethnography. Right-click, word cloud. These are the words used in all of the tweets to refer to ethnography. The word ethnography in itself has been used 236 times. Twitter, 61, tribal, 22, tribes, 23, design, 10, that's interesting, anthropology, 21. Let's see if there is any other discipline represented here besides anthropology. No, that's what it is. So anthropology, ethnography, cultural, so all of that is related. Manchester, 14, and so on. So this is the word cloud showing all of the words used in all of the tweets using the hashtag ethnography. We can change this word cloud to look different, but you know this already because I have made, and hopefully you have watched, a video in which I explain how to work with word clouds. Another thing that you can do is you can start looking for keywords in context. So you go to search project and let's look for the word design. Let's see in what context people are referring to design in these tweets. you see, we can select where to look for. Let me look in quotes as well as in quotations. So you select where you want to look for that particular word. And now, oops, that was wrong on my part. Let me do this again. Let me look on quotes as well as quotations. And now I will search for that. So we have the word design. That is one of the authors, Design Think Bot. So if I double click there, I will go to where that author is mentioned in a given tweet. Let me go now to a particular quotation. In other words, a particular tweet that used the word design. Here it is. That is quotation number 119, I believe. And that quotation, well, obviously has been linked to the hashtag ethnography that is common to all of these, as well as this author, demand ASME, and the language English. So that is something else that you can do, search for keywords in context in your Twitter document. What else can you do here? Something interesting. Let me take a look at this. I double click on that image and it takes me to the actual tweet online. So that's also an interesting thing that happens with ATLAS.ti. What else? If you go to Analyze, you can go to the Query tool and you can start creating queries. Everything about ethnography, or let me see here, ethnography, or let's see language perhaps. Let me get here the language, Twitter language, Spanish, Portuguese, Latvian. So here we are. You click on the Venn diagram and there you will see below all of the quotations or tweets that are about ethnography, as well as quotations or tweets that have been made in the Latvian language. There is a total of 228 quotations. If you change this from or to and, you will go to change the operator to and. Now we have only 3 quotations or 3 tweets. Now, why this difference? Well, because with the AND operator, and you will see this in the Venn diagram, we are really talking about the tweets that are about ethnography and that have been made in the Latvian language. Okay, so there are only 3 tweets about ethnography that were made in that language. So the AND is always much more exclusive than the OR operator. All right, so now what you have to do is you go to create a report. On the top, on the right side, report, and click report. And here is where you make your report. You have to select what you would like the report to include. Normally, you would select the content and the codes, and make sure that within codes, quotations is not selected, at least not in this particular report, and then create report. So here we are. This is a report in Word. You will have here the query, hashtag ethnography, and the language Latvian. There are 3 quotations in this report, 3 tweets. The first one is identified as quotation 1, 2, and the content of it is right here. And this tweet was made with the hashtag ethnography, as well as in the language Latvian. It was made by this author who mentioned this other author, and that is a retweet. And then you should take a look at all of the other two tweets to see who are the authors and the mentions and so on. Okay, so that is the report. And by the way, you can go to save here and you save it either as Word or PDF. Now that we have queried our Twitter data, we can also go to Analyze and examine co-occurrences. So you click on Cooccurrence Explorer, you click on the triangle next to codes, and here we have all of the codes that we have in our project. The hashtag ethnography, the authors, the mentions, the languages, the locations. So let's take a look at one of these. Let's take a look at the author A2PAK7. I click on the triangle next to it, and I see that this author has tweeted with the hashtag ethnography, which is something that we know, right, beforehand, because all of these authors are using that hashtag. You click on the triangle next to ethnography, and you can access the actual tweet by double-clicking on that. And here it is, highlighted. Let me go back to the Code Cooccurrence Explorer. We also have that this author is mentioning H. Sami Alim in the same tweet 1235. It's the tweet is in the English language, and it is a retweet. So this is something that you can do. You can go over your codes and ask the following question. When this author, Abuelita Liz, tweeted, well, I wonder, what did she tweet? And I wonder, who did she mention? I wonder the language in which she tweeted, as well as the location. The location is not here in this case. And I wonder whether or not this is a retweet. So you will get all of that information here. Furthermore, you will be able to go to the actual tweet in context. Still talking about code co-occurrences, another thing you can do with your Twitter data is you can explore co-occurrences in a quantitative way. You click on co-occurrence table. So here we are. This is a matrix that you are about to create. You have on top the set of codes and below the same codes. And let's say the following. I want to explore the number of times, let's say, individual users are tweeting about ethnography. So I will select the hashtag ethnography, the first code, and then I will select this one. I will select that one. Let me select this one as well. I will select this one over here and this one over here. So all of these are authors, right? That are tweeting about ethnography and the number of times. Now, one of the interesting things here is that you can change the way this table looks by going on the top and click on rows and columns. So there we swap the order of the rows and columns. So we have ethnography on top and the authors on the side. Now, of course, you don't have to do authors. You can do locations, you can do languages, retweets, and so on. So you have to play around with this and see what you get. And if you click in the cell of one of these combinations, let's say epic people org and ethnography, we see below the tweets, right, in which ethnography co-occurs with epic people. In other words, in this tweet here, there is a mention to both ethnography and epic people. And if you double click on that quotation, it takes you to the context so that you can see the actual tweet that that person made or that author made about ethnography. Okay, now you should know that this table can be exported to Excel. And in Excel, you can make a nice graph, a nice chart. For example, a pie, and let's make it look nicer like that. So that would be a pipe that tells me that the hashtag ethnography among the selected authors, it has been tweeted the most by, let me see here, the Ethnoforum GSE, 52%. Second goes the Epic People org, 19%, and so on. So that is a quantitative view of your tweets using the hashtag ethnography. So this is what you can do. You can query your Twitter data. You can examine co-occurrences both qualitatively and quantitatively. Besides the other things that I already showed you, which is the coding, the Twitter data, exploring the different elements in a network representation, examining the word clouds. And there are other things as well that I will not get to show you in this video, but I invite you to explore this on your own. Now, I should say that I am making another video that follows up from this one, in which I will be importing Twitter data, but not for one single hashtag, but rather, in this case, what I will do is I will allow for the importation of all of the hashtags that have been used in combination with the ethnography hashtag. So that project will produce many more codes. And in that other video, I will show you some of the things that you can do when you have a multiplicity of hashtags to analyze. Thank you.